Three hunters sat around a fire, arguing. They wore pelts of various shades of browns, blacks and greys, with leather boots strapped tightly around their ankles. Arthur Blackwell was fletching an arrow when he interrupted John Weston and Curtis Salem's argument. Arthur Blackwell: "Just because you haven't seen anything yet, Curtis, doesn't mean it's not real. You see how I used the word yet in that sentence?" Curtis paused for a second, letting his mind process what he had just heard. Curtis Salem: "Come on, Arthur, you expect me to believe that there are pixies and fairies living out here? John is pulling my leg again. You know, like that time he told me there was a half-man, half-fish living in the swamplands. When I went to see for myself, what did I find?" Arthur scratched his chin for a second and sighed. Arthur Blackwell: "Half a giant brondy fish on 2 sticks with a pair of trousers on." Curtis smiled. Curtis Salem: "Yes, I did. So I will never believe a word that comes out of his lips again. Half the village are still laughing at me, and that was 6 months ago." All of a sudden, the 3 men turned quickly when a loud crunch of twigs and rustle of leaves sounded to their right. Arthur snatched up his bow. John and Curtis pulled daggers from their belts, giving each other hand signals and confirmations with nods of their heads. The men started to creep towards the sound. Whatever it was, it sounded big and dangerous to the men. Phoebe found a jagged piece of rock sticking out of the side of the cliff. It was a little bit low for her, but she made it work, awkwardly squatting and rubbing the ropes on the rock until they broke. The log dropped to the floor in a pile of dry brown leaves that crunched under the impact. Phoebe was okay with sleeping out under the stars, but she was famished. It had been nearly 2 days since her last meal. All she had was the clothes on her back and the ropes she had just cut herself free from. She slumped down with her back against a tree and started picking the strands of rope apart and tying them together.